Hello, viewers. Welcome back to an exclusive visit to Blue Origin. Today we're unlocking the second installment of our super heavyweight content. For those of you who followed the last episode, you'll remember that last time we went inside the factory and witnessed the complete process of assembling the New Glenn rocket from parts to whole. It was so impressive that we still think about it. For those who haven't seen the previous episode, I really suggest you hurry up and catch up. Otherwise, you'll miss a lot of key details. And it'll be a bit hard to understand the whole launch chain. After replenishing and then come back to connect with this episode, the experience will be much more complete. And today's episode of the degree of excitement directly pull full. Absolutely worth watching from start to finish seriously. Because not only do we get to see the middle section of the New Glenn booster up close and personal, but we also get a personal tour from Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos himself as he takes us to New Glenn's very own launch pad, Cape Canaveral 36. Launch pad No. 36 at Cape Canaveral. Seriously, it's a rare experience to have the opportunity to have Bezos himself lead the tour. I was pretty excited myself. Without further ado, let's get going and dive into this futuristic space base. From Blue Origin's Merritt Island production site. It's about a 10-minute drive to the Kennedy Space Center's Visitor Center. And along the way, you can feel the strong atmosphere of space exploration, as this place carries countless pieces of space history. As soon as we entered the core facility, Bezos started by sharing with me the exciting news that they are building a large construction facility here in preparation for the subsequent development and mass production of the lunar lander. He made a point of emphasizing that this is the plural form of lander. When I heard this, I was deeply impressed that we are in the golden age of space exploration, no longer a single point of breakthrough, but moving towards scale and systemization. It's a really great feeling. Led by Bezos, we first visited the assembly plant. As soon as I pushed open the door, my eyes were drawn to the behemoth in the middle of the room. It was no other than the middle section of the New Glenn booster flying entity. And it was even more massive than I had imagined. Standing next to it was the only way to truly feel the power of human engineering. Bezos specifically draws my attention to the stripes on the booster's casing. He said, "This is not for decoration, but Blue Origin self-developed insulation cloth, lightweight. But the insulation effect has been verified through many tests. Fully able to cope with the high temperature of the flight erosion. The most important thing is that it also has a high reuse rate. After use without complex renovation, can be put into use again. This is consistent with the Blue Origin has always insisted on the reusable space equipment concept. The key to reducing costs is often found in the details. Look closely at the front edge of the booster, which is made of a high-temperature nickel alloy. Bezos explains that this material is so heat-resistant that it can withstand the thermal shock of a third-stage flight without the need for additional insulation. This not only simplifies the structural design, but also avoids the added weight burden of additional insulation. However, he also added, this nickel alloy has excellent performance but is relatively heavy. Therefore, instead of using it extensively in all parts of the rocket, we targeted its use to critical parts that need to withstand high-temperature impacts. In this way, the optimal balance between performance and weight is found. It is a reflection of the ingenuity of the engineers that every design has been weighed over and over again. While talking about how rockets fly, I also talked to Bezos about the game Kerbal Space Program. I didn't realize that his kids were also fans of the game, and we instantly had something in common. Bezos said he wasn't too good at it, but his kids were very good at it. He also teased that this game is really interesting, and that it can convey the knowledge of space in an entertaining way, so that it is educational and entertaining. I also shared with him that when you play this game, you will slowly realize that the influence of the atmosphere is actually more subtle than you think. Instead of being a mere obstacle, it can be utilized to generate lift. By adjusting the angle of flight a little, so that the aircraft to fly at a very small angle to the wind. Like an airplane wing can steal momentum from the air, thus improving the efficiency of flight. Bezos agrees. adding that this design thinking was actually applied to the re-entry phase of the New Glenn rocket. In the final assembly hall, those thick-looking pipes also hide a lot of knowledge. Bezos made a point of taking us up close and explaining. There are 3 core pipelines here, he said, each with a different function. 2 of them correspond to LNG tanks and auxiliary tanks of the self-pressurization system. The logic of their operation is that the hot gas is first injected into the auxiliary tanks, and then the warm LNG is introduced into the main tanks. In this way, autonomous pressurization of the tanks can be achieved. This design is not only efficient, but also reduces energy waste. After hearing this, I really thought the design was very ingenious and couldn't help but marvel at it. Bezos also smiled and said that he himself liked the design. The 3rd pipeline is the nitrogen channel. Nitrogen has to be delivered through exclusive channels, and it will utilize the engines as heat exchangers that function on both sides of the hull to ensure stable operation of the propulsion system. These details are usually hard to access, and it was really so rewarding to hear Bezos himself explain them. Another point that particularly surprised me was the telescopic adaptation design of the rocket tank. Bezos explained that when cryogenic liquids are injected into the tank, they expand and contract significantly due to temperature changes, resulting in significant changes in the length of the tank. If the piping is fixed too tightly, it can easily be torn by the tank. Therefore, engineers have added slip ring devices to the tubing. These slip rings are attached to the pipe, allowing the entire section to slide up and down as the tank length changes, thus perfectly adapting to the structural deformation caused by temperature changes. He jokes that the engineers had to calculate exactly how much deformation would occur in 300 feet of pipe at extreme temperatures. The precision is truly amazing. To be honest, I personally really enjoy these engineering details. The greatness of space exploration is often built up from these small, unassuming designs. Bezos agrees, saying that the trade-offs and details are the most fun part of the development process. After touring the core components of the assembly plant, it was time to move on to the highlight of our trip, Cape Canaveral's Launch Pad 36. It took about 20 minutes to drive from the plant to the launch pad. And along the way, we could admire many space-related facilities, and a sense of history and the future intertwined was born. Upon arriving at the launch pad, I was struck by the sights before me. The most conspicuous thing was the huge transportation erector. Bezos describes this device serves both transportation and erection functions. It weighs a whopping 4 million pounds on its own, while the empty rocket weighs only a few 100,000 pounds. The reason for such a heavy design is to maintain extremely high rigidity during transportation and erection, avoiding bending loads on the rocket and ensuring its structural integrity. Even more amazingly, the transport erector is not rail-bound and is able to move laterally like a crab, demonstrating exceptional maneuverability. Operators were able to maneuver it precisely to the pivot point position on the launch pad. Bezos also showed me the logic of its operation. First, the device is locked into place by huge hinges. Second, the entire device is lifted by giant hydraulic actuators buried in the ground. And finally, the rocket is vertically positioned. These hydraulic actuators, which he said are the largest ever built by Blue Origin, generate a powerful thrust that pushes the device around a pivot point, ultimately aligning the rocket precisely with the launch position. I'd only seen this in renderings before, but when I saw it in the flesh, it was incredible. It's really hard to describe the impact of this industrial marvel. The water cooling system of the launch pad is also one of the key facilities. Bezos explained to me in detail what it does. When a rocket engine is ejected at full thrust, it generates thousands of degrees Fahrenheit of heat and a tremendous amount of noise. If left unchecked, it could not only damage the launch pad, but also compromise the structural safety of the rocket itself. The water cooling system, which injects high-pressure water through conduits dotted with holes, effectively cools the surface of the pad on one hand, and suppresses noise and absorbs harmful acoustic energy on the other. In addition, The pad is equipped with an acoustic energy suppression device similar to a rainbird nozzle, which sprays a stream of water that covers the entire deck in order to further enhance the acoustic energy absorption effect and minimize the impact of the hostile launching environment. It must be said that behind every successful rocket launch, there are infrastructures that work silently to escort the launch. They are the unsung heroes of the launch process. Next to the launch pad stand two towers that are 574 feet, about 175 meters tall. Bezos said they are the tallest water towers Blue Origin has built to date. One of them is mainly used for day-to-day functions such as vehicle traffic, and the other is used to install a lightning protection system. Since thunderstorms are frequent in the Florida area, lightning protection is essential for the launch pad to avoid interference with the launch mission and to ensure the safety of the launch process. We also climbed up to the viewing platform of the launch pad. Looking down from a high place, the layout of the whole launch pad is clear at a glance. The huge fixtures, pipelines, and mechanical devices all speak silently of mankind's determination to explore space. Bezos also made a point of telling me about the ring component of the launch pad. He said that this component has a built-in TO release mechanism. When the rocket is erected in place, the ring member presses against the attachment point and is clamped in place. All of the umbilical cable devices that connect to the carrier are installed in an air-conditioned environment on the transport erector, just as if they were operated in a clean room. This ensures the fineness and safety of the umbilical cable operation. When all preparations are ready, the launch mission can be executed directly without additional delicate operations at the launch pad. This not only increases efficiency, but also reduces the impact of the outside environment on the equipment. It is worth noting that Launch Pad 36 is not a brand new construction, but rather an upgraded version of an existing one. It's a place steeped in space history. And Bezos told me that it was the starting point for early pioneering missions like Surveyor and Mariner. The last mission here was a Delta II rocket in 2005, and the pad has been silent for nearly 2 decades since then. Now, with the arrival of the new Glenn, this old launch pad is about to be revitalized, bringing history and the future together. It was an honor to witness this moment firsthand. From the launch pad's observation deck, we talked about the evolution of Blue Origin. Bezos told me that Blue Origin was founded in 2000 as a program focused on the development of space exploration technology. The core goal of the team was to explore various novel launch options and try to go beyond the traditional chemical rocket technology path. In the 3 to 4 years since its inception, the team has tried almost every imaginable innovative idea and comprehensively explored and validated all types of launch technologies. But ultimately, they realized that reusability was the key to lowering the cost of space exploration and advancing the industry. Earth launches don't need to be overly complex with new rocket technologies, but rather focus on reusing rockets, especially boosters. This realization became an important turning point in the development of Blue Origin. Since then, the team has shifted its focus to reusable rocket architectures, finalizing a vertical landing solution and beginning work on a prototype vehicle. The first vertical landing vehicle, the Callan, uses jet propulsion technology and has a very cool look. The Caron is now on display at the Seattle Museum and is an important testament to Blue Origin's early development. The team then built PM-1, the first propulsion module to achieve vertical takeoff and landing. Resembling the bubblegum shape of the New Shepard capsule, the takeoff and landing process provided invaluable experience for the development of subsequent models. The subsequent PM-2 successfully achieved liftoff, but failed to land due to a hydraulic system failure. After the crash, the team skipped the PM-3 design and went straight to the development of the PM-4, later widely known as the New Shepard. The development and operation of New Shepard was a huge success. By the end of 2025, approximately 5.8% of all people who have crossed the Kármán line, 100 kilometers above sea level, will have traveled on the New Shepard. This statistic demonstrates its importance in the field of commercial space tourism. Bezos also mentioned that the real transformation of Blue Origin will take place in 2024, when the company officially moves from its previous research and development phase to mass production. Currently, the company's core goal is to become one of the most decisive and top-tier mass production companies in the world, a transformation that draws on his operational experience at Amazon, where he focused on operational excellence, eliminating problems at the source by identifying defects and tracing them back to the root cause, driving scale and standardization of rocket production. This is similar to WSC's operational model of operating and managing gigawatt-scale data centers, and Amazon's delivery of 1 billion packages a year, which has allowed Blue Origin to gradually transform itself from a technology research and development company to a scaled manufacturing company, laying a solid foundation for the mass launch of the New Glenn rocket. Talking about the vision of the future, Bezos's eyes are full of determination, he said. Space travel technology has been conquered as early as 50 years ago. Mankind has long mastered the core technology of space navigation and moon landing. The real challenge facing the field of space exploration is not technological breakthroughs, but cost control. Our core goal is to reduce the cost of space exploration by 100 times. Only in this way can we truly open the door to space for mankind, so that space exploration is no longer the exclusive domain of a few countries and enterprises. According to Bezos, drastically reducing costs will completely activate entrepreneurship in the space sector. Just like the internet industry, this will spawn a vibrant ecosystem of large, medium, and small businesses, allowing everyone with an idea and the ability to participate in the space program. This will give rise to countless success stories and make it possible for every experiment to be tried. He cited the growth of the internet industry as an example of how the space sector must build a sound infrastructure and lower the barriers to entry into the industry if it is to achieve a similar boom. He acknowledged that there is still a minimum threshold of tens of millions of dollars to conduct any worthwhile space experiment, which means that two young people working on an invention in their dorm room will never be able to create the next amazing space venture. Too high a barrier to entry would stifle countless possibilities for innovation. So, his core vision is to lower the cost of space exploration to a level that is affordable to ordinary people and small teams, making the space dream of dormitory entrepreneurship a reality. That's one of the key reasons he left his position as CEO of Amazon to devote most of his energies to the development of Blue Origin. While he is still deeply involved in Amazon, with a particular focus on artificial intelligence, Blue Origin has become the place where he puts most of his energy and effort. He says he's working harder than ever, even on the bad days, and enjoying every minute of advancing the cause of space exploration. Talking about the first launch of the New Glenn rocket, Bezos also revealed an update. The first launch window for the New Glenn rocket has been adjusted to the fourth quarter of 2026, from October to December, according to Blue Origin's January 2026 official announcement. The launch is a cargo test mission designed to validate the rocket's capabilities. The previously rumored October launch is actually early preliminary planning. In addition, there is no official mention of a Mars transfer orbit goal. Therefore, we can focus on the fourth quarter of the cargo flight dynamics. However, Bezos also added that because the rocket has sufficient performance margins, the launch time can be delayed, not strictly limited to a fixed date. This provides greater flexibility for the smooth running of the launch mission. In terms of observing conditions, Launch Pad 36 has the advantage of excellent public observation. Residents of Cockapitch and Cape Canaveral were able to view the launch from nearby public parks at a distance almost equal to my position on the tower. Even passengers from cruise ships in nearby ports will be able to witness the spectacle. I'm also looking forward to the launch day. Imagine strolling along the beach and seeing a giant rocket take off. It's a visual impact like no other, and I'm sure it will be a lifelong memory for many people. Bezos also mentioned that the successful launch of the New Glenn rocket will lay the foundation for the Blue Origin of the subsequent space program. including the development of the lunar lander and the construction of the lunar base. These projects are steadily advancing, aiming to achieve the goal of building a space ecology. In terms of industry impact, the successful launch of the New Glenn rocket will further intensify competition and cooperation in the commercial space sector, and inspire more companies to participate in space exploration, thus promoting the development of the industry in the direction of low cost and scale. We also chatted on the observation deck about the launch pad's historical sites, such as the blockhouse in the distance. Bezos said there were 4 periscopes there, and because of its age, there was still a load of asbestos inside, in the architectural style of the era. Although it has been partially cleaned up, but now completely useless, but standing here is very reminiscent of the past space missions. And more people look forward to the New Glenn rocket here to create new history. He also told me that the site of the previous Falcon Heavy double landing is not far away. Launch Pad 37, the launch area for the Delta IV Heavy, is currently in a state of imminent decommissioning and will be used for other purposes in the future. Blue Origin also has plans to build a second launch pad to ensure redundancy and maintain a steady launch cadence. However, this new launch pad is currently in the planning stage and construction has not yet begun. On the launch tower, we also saw the SLS rocket vertical takeoff unit standing alone in all its majesty. Assembly work was underway on Pad 39, where the Starbus was also parked at the time. It was said to be on a launch mission in a few days. Being able to see so many space facilities and their mission readiness status in one place really gives you a sense of the booming space exploration business. At the end of the conversation, I couldn't help but ask Bezos, looking back at the development of Blue Origin over the past 20 years, if he could go back in time, what different choices would he have made? Bezos said frankly, in the technical level, there are countless experiences to learn from. There are many potholes that must be stepped over in order to grow, and technical learning is a process that cannot be skipped. However, the real turning point was the shift from R&D to mass production 2 years ago. This transition gave the company a clearer direction. He appreciates the team's trade-offs and polishing of details during the R&D process, and misses the argumentative meetings. It is because of these heated discussions that every design can be more perfect. As the visit drew to a close, I was overcome with emotion. It was a precious experience to have the opportunity to follow Bezos into the core facilities of Blue Origin and learn about the details of the development and future plans for the New Glenn rocket. Special thanks to the Blue Origin team for their support and to Mr. Bezos for taking the time to give us such a detailed explanation, which allowed us to experience the charm of space exploration from a close distance. As the first launch of the New Glenn rocket draws nearer and nearer, Launch Pad 36, which has been dormant for nearly 2 decades, is about to see new splendor. We are also about to witness another important milestone in the commercial space sector. I will continue to follow the latest developments of the New Glenn rocket and bring you first-hand live reports. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and turn on the little bell so you don't miss any important news. Also, a big thank you to everyone who has supported me. Whether it's sponsoring on the Patreon platform, becoming a YouTube member, subscribing to my channel, liking, and commenting, your support is the motivation for me to keep on creating and making these in-depth visit videos smooth to present to you. You can support my work by searching for Every Diastrant on Patreon and checking out my official store. We've launched a brand new 1969 collection, including a cool F1 themed t-shirt that pays homage to the 1969 Apollo era. I've always believed that we are in a new Apollo era and that the doors of space exploration are opening up to more people. I look forward to witnessing more space wonders with you all. That's it for today's visit. I'm Tim Dodd, an everyday astronaut dedicated to bringing space into the lives of ordinary people. What do you expect from the first launch of the New Glenn rocket? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. We'll see you next time.